Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Hello, Susan. Good morning. Oh, that's not right. Hold on. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Friday, March 28th, 2025. Where has the first 3 months of the year gone? Well, looking for disclosure, my friends, and we haven't found much of it yet, but there's rumblings in Washington, D.C., what we'll be talking about tonight on the show. Without any further delay, let me jump into the studio, get on the drums around here somewhere. There we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who the hell do we have out there? I know we've got some people out there. I know we got Kathy. And we've got Mick talking to you before the show. Here we go, friends. Let's see who the heck we have out there. We have $70 Million Man X along with Anne Marie. I see Ashes on air. She was in the back, but now she's in the chat. Good to see you, Ashes. Ashes, dust to dust. Craig Smith is here along with Deborah Clark. We got Dennis Benke, Destiny Rock, Steve Kim. Frazzle Says is here along with Geraldine Durazio. Would you look at that? We got Gizmo, Grey Jedi, and Gundam some fell off the elephant. Could that be the elephant from Midgets on a Horse who passed up the elephant? I don't know. Let's find out. Jeff is here along with Jay Palm. John Mooner's here along with Johnny UFO and Kelly Bro with those piercing blue eyes. Good to see you in the chat, Kelly. We got Cody and Metal Gaming, also known as Martin, along with Mick and Mr. Catfish 2100. Yerp. Yeah, thanks for sending the picture along, my friend. Very interesting to say the least. We've got Paul Damon, Peter Tremulous, and Ram is here along with Sam. Ram? Rhymes with Sam. How about that? We got Steve Hines and Super Unknown and the Chromosome Cowboy. Well, would you look at that? Tom Clark's here along with Truck and Pawpaw. Vern Dude and Woody Clark. Whitey is here along with Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy. How about that? I'm sure he'll be with us tomorrow. We've got, also, rounding it up, we've got F5 Twister. It should be one of my weather friends, WX Mike. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look who in the heck have in the back today. All right, in our panel in the back today, we've got our first friend is coming to us from the great state of Florida. Let's welcome in Alice W. Alice, how the heck are you?
Hi, Thomas. I'm doing great. How are you tonight?
Oh, not so bad. Been a little peppy today.
You look good.
Yeah, thank you. Gray plaid. Got to deal with it.
It is good plaid. That's
our next friend coming to us, who is someone who escaped from Bangkok, Thailand, a place where there was a earthquake today, a 7.7 over in Myanmar. Leveled some amazing buildings in Thailand, and it's really close to where Abe used to live. Corporal Abe, how the heck are you?
Hey, friends, doing pretty good. Got news that my dog is okay. Sending love out to Thailand and Myanmar. Hope everybody's safe out there. And looking forward to a good show here in the States.
Thank you very much. Corporal Abe, always wonderful to have you here. Our next friend is a Hoosier coming from the great state of Indiana. Let's welcome in Mr. Daryl Zernick. Daryl, how the hell are you?
Doing great, Thomas. Ferrari and I are out on a walk right now. Beautiful, warm Indiana night so far. Thank you. It's going to be great.
Your dog's name is Fry, as in small fry?
Oh, no, Ferrari, the dog.
Ferrari, the dog, not Fry.
Ferrari,
gotcha.
Can you see anybody? It's too dark.
We got you, my friend. But thank you for coming in anyway, and appreciate you going ahead and letting us know. Our next friend is coming to us from the great state of Texas, although he's got to leave early because he has to get up at 3 a.m. Let's welcome in Mr. Ed Brown. How you doing, Ed?
That's going to be real early for me, Thomas. A good afternoon, a good evening, or good night to you also. I just want to tell Daryl, slow down, buddy. You're walking too fast. It's taking the oxygen out of your lung. And hello to everybody else, too, including Abe. Hello, Abe. And we'll see you on the show.
Ed, it sounds like you've had some coffee recently. Are you sure you're going to be able to fall asleep?
I'm working on it. I'm just taking it the wrong side of the day. That's all.
There you go, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Our next friend is coming to us from the great state of Canada. Our dear friend, Freezerman71, who's been MIA. Freezerman, how the heck are you? Have you been consumed by watching all the aurora that have been overhead?
No, I haven't, Thomas, but it's good to see you guys again.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate to see you here. And do me a favor, Freezerman. We need to find some things to hang on your wall.
Yeah, I know. I have some pictures across the way.
There you go, my friend. Best thing you can do is go to a secondhand store and just frequent it regularly. Get some pictures there. You can get some amazing things to throw up on your walls for pennies on the dollar.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Our next friend comes to us from the great state of Wisconsin. Let's welcome in Laura Campbell, who's also known as a remote viewing targeter. Laura, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, Thomas, and looking forward to tonight's show. I wondered if this announcement came out today or if it was Thursday.
About Lou in D.C., that was yesterday,
Yep.
yes.
Okay, cool. Excited for the news.
Yeah, I love the red accents. It goes along with the aurora we've been seeing. Lots of red.
Yeah, we got some pictures of our aurora the other night, so
You
we're
did
getting
get
it
it.
here too up in the
Nice.
Wisconsin area.
Did I send you a
Yes.
warning saying aurora tonight? I might have.
I pay attention because I listened to the Stephen Burns show, and he was talking about solar flares and possible earthquakes coming, and he was right on that.
Talk about a man with great hair and a great video. Oh my God, amazing. You know,
Yep.
It makes you wonder why, oh God, the guy over at Suspicious Observers is so concerned. Stephen's.
He does.
Thank you for coming in
Yep.
today, Laura.
Thank you.
Our next friend comes to us from the province in Canada where all the users silent. Let's welcome in Mr. Michael Suck. Michael, thanks for helping out Frat for the show yesterday with Alan. It was great to have you there to help moderate the whole situation, to actually get some conversations going.
Well, thank you very much. I hope everybody else feels the same way.
I think they do. I'm
that's
happy
good.
about it. Thank you very much, Michael. Your services and your dedication is very much appreciated.
I don't know if I'm dedicated, but I certainly do like to serve.
There you go, my friend. Yes, I'll have another one, please. Vodka Red Bull.
On the way.
All right, thank you very much. Our next friend's coming to us from the great state of Massachusetts, Sergeant Daniel USMC, who's been called a masshole in the past. Well, how are you?
I'm going to try to live up to that. So I'm good to be here. Thank you.
What is that a picture of? I can't tell. Is that like an owl or is that a dog?
Yeah, it's an owl.
It is.
They say that thing came to me in the middle of the day and just kind of stared at me for like an hour. And folklore says that those have something to do with ETs, but I don't know.
No, I think it has something more with cats. If there ever was a bird who flew around that actually was the embodiment of a cat, it's an owl.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you for coming in. And our next friend coming in from the great state of California. I think I got that right. Let's welcome in our friend, Syrup. My friend, how's the syrup pouring today?
Hey, it's going good, Thomas. I'm looking forward to tonight's show. A couple of things happened, so can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of things going on. A lot of stuff happening. And let's move on back to the East Coast. Upstate New York. I mean, not upstate. Let's Long Island, I think. Let's welcome in Tia. How's it going, Tia?
Hello, Thomas. I'm doing pretty good. Excited to see what you have in store for us tonight.
Throwing some cookies from Oka, but thank you for coming in, Tia. It's wonderful to have you here. And yeah, we got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about tonight because the man, the voice, the legend, Mike. How the hell are you?
I'm doing well, as can be expected for the end of the week on an typical FU Friday.
I mean, fuck you Friday? Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. But it looks like things are starting to look up in Washington, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. So we'll see what actually happens with disclosure moving forward at this point, I think.
Yes, in the top story of the night, as we have on our title card. Where's that at? Oh, yeah, there it is. UFO Disclosure marches on. What are we looking at here? Granted, there's no video clips of this, although we do have some videos to go ahead and play tonight. We have Tim Burchett, Anna Polina Luna, Lou Elizondo, Eric Burleson, and Christopher Mellon all together for a group photo, Mike. Like a family reunion picture, or what's going on here?
It's actually looks to me like a very tight photo of the key plays in Washington revolving around disclosure.
Right.
So that's actually a first positive thing I think you and I have seen in a while coming out of Washington at the moment.
Yeah, I know, Mike. It's one of those things. We look at the picture, we look at everything, and everything has been so silent, Mike, with regards to disclosure and everything that's going on. It's like it fell off a cliff, and we haven't heard a hind or hair of it. Granted, we've been trying to keep the whole conversation going, but last week we had, or earlier in the week and last week, we had David Grush popping back up again, talking about stuff, going to work for Eric Burleson, followed by the Mod Squad showing up in Washington, D.C., along with not just those people, but I believe Ivan Hanel, who's Lou Elizondo's attorney, although he's not representing the UAP Disclosure Fund, thank God, because Matt Ford is going off unhinged against the Republicans, destroying whatever possible chance UAP Disclosure Fund could ever have of reaching into the Republican side for support. It's just been shocking, Mike.
Well, listen, everybody is not always able to keep their personal political opinions to themselves, and they feel it necessary to share with the public, but that's not always appropriate to do, in my opinion. So his choice. And he'll have to deal with the consequences.
It has been so hard not to reply to all these negative tweets coming out from Matt on a regular basis. We talked about it earlier today. I was getting ready to go ahead and put one out, but they're like, nope, hold it back. You hold me back from putting some tweets out, and I do the same for you, my friend.
You do, and that's why we make a good team.
Oh, yeah.
We cover each other's ass, and we make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that other people out there, like the aforementioned Matt Ford, sometimes does publicly on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's a lot going on in Washington, it seems, lately. And we have David Grush and company. Like we said, he was working now for Eric Burleson.
Oh, yeah. And I have to go ahead and find it and bring it up. But, going ahead and bring up the messages. I did find something interesting, though, to go ahead and bring up potentially. Hopefully we won't get in trouble, but I'm going to bring it up anyway, because this one is just a holy shit moment, Mike. I need to bring this one up. Where is it at? Vaccines contain prion region, maybe linked to prion-like diseases. Yeah, they found that stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I'm serious, Mike. They found it within the regions of what it is. You know what that leads to, my friend?
Mad cow disease.
Oh, weren't we just talking about this last week or something?
Yes, we were. We actually were. Yes, the prion protein is nearly indestructible, and it's highly infectious and contagious. And what we were talking about is, God forbid, if it ever got into the food supply, we would be facing a threat that would be unbelievable. So what are they talking about, the prions reemerging? What does this article say?
It's in there.
Oh, God.
And there's a chance if the vaccine got into different parts of your body and reproduced the DNA like they found it could do, that's actually part of the script that could get translated into the genome.
Are you talking about the COVID vaccine is the one that they're saying could be contaminated?
No, I'm not, but yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
When did they figure that out?
Actually, I believe the initial piece that I saw here was initially reported on May 10th, 2024.
And this is the first time we're hearing about this?
Yeah, well, there was a story in Natural News, although it didn't get a lot of coverage. They're saying the cases of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease increased after exposure to the you-know-what.
Yes. But that means that potentially a lot of people around the world are exposed to this.
Yeah. Thank God we didn't get it, did we, Mike?
Oh, hell no. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Wow. This is scary stuff.
I know. There's a lot of scary stuff going on. Let's see if we got stuff going on. And all right, okay. So let's focus on this. I know we got a bunch of different directions. We're playing like ADD direction tonight. Oh, something shiny. Oh, something shiny. And we keep on losing our track of what we're talking about, aren't we?
No, that's okay.
We're having fun time. The audience should know me by now, but if not, they can hit that unsubscribe button like plenty of people do on a regular basis.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope things will move forward.
We watch the numbers. We see where it's going. Hopefully, it's the people who would rather be going ahead and keying a Tesla than watching our show. They have important things to do, Mike.
Yep. I know just how important that would be to key a Tesla.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? When the federal government gets involved, that malicious mischief charge turns into something a lot more than federal charges do.
It becomes domestic terrorism.
And how many freaking stupid people are there out there who hate Elon that can't realize that these vehicles have anywhere from 6 to 9 plus cameras on them? It's just like there's...
Yeah. Well, I think the appropriate term is schmucks.
Schmucks. With a capital S, let's make it a legal term, my friend.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And look, if they end up in taking a one-way flight to Guantanamo Bay, they won't be repeating that mistake.
I don't think they'll get there, but they could find 20 years in San Quentin.
Yep, that too. Or Leavenworth. Yeah, good.
Leavenworth is anywhere. Just go ahead. Or any of the, there are plenty of dark sites within the United States. We learned about that before. From former Governor Jesse Ventura.
Oh, God, Jesse Ventura.
He went to some of the dark sites. He tried to get in, and they locked him up, and they threw him in jail.
Yeah. Yeah, not a fan of the former governor.
But are you more of a fan of Jesse or Mike Herrera?
Oh, really? That's not a fair question at all. Time. I'm going to have to say no comment.
No comment on that one. There you go. But Mike, we have some documents, very compelling documents that showed even AARO lied about their conversations with Mike Herrera, which is like, really? It's been a crazy week.
It is. And what's even more peculiar is that AARO is well known for a long time now of not telling the truth to the American people and burying whatever information they come across. And two of the outspoken advocates for that have been Christopher Mellon and Lou Elizondo.
Yeah.
So, including David Grush, who was advised by his attorney at the time, Chuck McCullough, the former ICIG, not to go anywhere near AARO at all. So why are they all lined up and going and speaking with AARO? I still don't know why that's the case. Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Like the Canadian Prime Minister, the new one, who's in place for a short period of time, has gone on a full-out trade war against the United States. And I feel sorry for all of our friends in Canada who usually drive down the United States to buy fuel and buy food and goods because it's so much cheaper here. They're about to get screwed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is starting to escalate every way you can imagine. It's not good.
Oh,
especially for our friends in Canada.
Oh, I know. But heading back to Washington, D.C., getting back into the world of disclosure. Let's get into this. All right, document solo. All right, let's get into it first. Lou Elizondo says, Christopher Mellon, myself, and our colleagues, that includes Ivan Hanel, his attorney, were in Washington, D.C. this week and had the opportunity to meet with several senators, representatives, and or their staffs to discuss the current UAP and drone issues facing our nation. I am extremely encouraged and humbled to see the level of effort and investment by these Republican officials. Please keep in mind that in our eagerness to obtain transparency, we need to allow them the necessary time to work through these incredibly complex issues. Mike, we got to talk about. This is a great step forward, but we need to have patience as they need to peel back the decades of denial and misinformation. What, you need more time? I am very encouraged by the direction that they are taking, and so should you. Thank you specifically to Representative Luna, Burchett, and Burleson. Coming from Lou Elizondo. There we go. We got a group photo that was on our title card. Nice one. And one there with Lou. And
Burleson and
Anna Paulina Luna. I never realized Lou and Anna Paulina Luna were about the same height.
Follow the yeah. No, I get it. You're right. It's very interesting. That's a hell of a photo.
Yeah, I know. So here we go. In ranking and height, we got Anna Paulina Luna, Lou Elizondo, then Eric Burleson. Let's jump up to Tim Burchett, and towering over all of them, we got Christopher Mellon. Great way to make everyone feel comfortable.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. But
so
again, they were in a skiff and they were going to AARO, which it's still nobody bothered to explain why they are all going to sit down and speak with AARO about anything. No one's talking about that. They're talking about Grush. They're talking about the skiff. And that's about as far as it goes. Now, what's interesting, if you remember, when Grush had first testified publicly back on July 26th of 2023, they were, after that hearing, trying to get Grush into a skiff, but they weren't able to do so. There were issues with the clearances, Grush's clearance, their clearance.
Right, but here's the thing, Mike. Supposedly, Grush never lost his security clearances first. Secondly, the only person from the House of Representatives that actually followed up with David Grush after that monumental hearing almost 2 years ago was Eric Burleson. Nobody else extended the fig leaf to have David come in and work with them. Is that just like, what the hell's going on? Not even Tim Burchett. I don't get it.
Right. But if you remember, Burchett eventually made an announcement that they were trying to hire Grush, but that they did not have a select UAP committee and no budget to pay him. That's why they weren't able to move forward with hiring him. And
But
then, of course, this goes full circle, because if they could have Burleson's office pay him and have him attached working under Burleson, then why the fuck couldn't they do that 2 years ago?
Bingo. They had all of them, or if they didn't have enough money, they could have pooled their money together and brought them in.
Right. So this begs the question, what the hell is really going on?
Wasn't there like a rumor about a member of the House of Representatives going and hiring Grush like almost 2 years ago now, Mike?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we covered that.
Remember Swan? Swan was going up and down about this back then.
Absolutely. They were going to hire him to investigate and put them on the right track with the information that he had, but none of that materialized. And then eventually Burchett said, well, we didn't get the committee, we didn't get the funding, so we couldn't hire Grush. And then Grush got involved with, the documentary that he's involved with, and it seemed like he was going to deal with prosaic stuff in the world for his life and his career. Nothing to do with the government or moving forward in Congress. But that changed very quickly.
It did. As things go slowly in disclosure, I hate to say it, though, it sounds like a lot of the people out there on Twitter replying to Lou's tweet that we just had up here a second ago are fed up with the conversation taking so long. I mean, it sounds like, honestly, the way they're talking about this, it's as if, like you said earlier today, Mike, giving you credit for this one, it's as if the subject of UFOs has never been talked about in the halls of Congress before.
Right. Like, this is the first time that they're hearing about this, and they decided to form a group that's going to investigate and start from scratch on the whole UAP disclosure effort, which is not true at all. And people are pissed off about this, especially with Lou saying, well, you need patience. Patience. This has been going on with the government keeping this a secret for over 80 years. And Lou has brought this out publicly 8 years, for the past 8 plus years. And now he's telling people you have to be patient. No, they're tired of hearing all the Stephen Greer nonsense that's out there. They don't want to hear all this bullshit anymore, and they're frustrated, and they have every right to be.
Oh, talking about being frustrated, this takes me back to a post that came from Christopher Mellon just about 3 days ago. Granted, Christopher, let me go ahead and bring this one up. This is a very interesting one. Syrup, I'll get to you, I promise. Just give me a second here to get through this one. All right, let's get into this one with the guest. Christopher Mellon talking about Dr. Harold Malmgren, who passed away recently, and he was a person who actually did guidance. He was part of the Kennedy administration, right?
He was in the Kennedy administration,
Yeah. They could talk about his exposure on DOD and UAP and everything, but we get to the bottom of this. Let me read this. As I've argued elsewhere, such as my June 3rd, 2023 political article, humanity would benefit from knowing the truth. But I also recognize that the initial fear and paranoia such a revelation could trigger might prove costly and destabilizing. Let me quote this. Before proceeding further with the investigation of these allegations, perhaps it's time for Congress or the administration to sponsor an in-depth study of the social, economic, and national security consequences that could result from a contact with an alien civilization. This, after all, is something that could happen at any time, even if it hasn't happened already. Mike, do I hear this bullshit right? He's trying to say that we need to go ahead and study the UAP and figure out what it could possibly do to society and to see if we should potentially bring this shit forward at this point in time. That's what I'm reading into this. What say you?
Yeah. I'll tell you. Number one, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. The federal government has spent millions of dollars on 8 or 9 different studies since the 1950s.
Yeah.
That had to do with looking into this very topic and this exact question. And now he's saying we should do it again. Nobody wants to hear that. Not one bit. Not at all. So you're right. It sounds like bullshit to me. It's not moving the conversation forward. It really ain't.
It's not, is it?
No, sir.
All right. My chat has stopped working today. I'll deal with it. There we go. Now it's back. Chat going. All right, one more time. Okay, we got it back again. Yeah, so Mike, this is just craziness. It's lunacy. It's like the doctors have left the asylum, leaving the loonies to go ahead and run the place. How could they say that, again, before proceeding further with the investigations of these allegations, perhaps it's time for Congress administration? You know what, Mike? I am totally fed up with waiting on this stuff. What's the old saying? Shitter, get off the pot.
Yes, sir. It is. And they're looking for excuses to continue to delay. And people who support this wholeheartedly are getting sick and tired and fed up of these types of delays. It's ridiculous. No one wants to hear this shit anymore.
It's bullshit.
And those studies, we covered this. Those studies that the government did, all it said is that there would be some economic backlash. There would be initial people who are not knowledgeable on this subject, like the general public, to have some uncertainty. But that's common sense, really. You could apply that to almost any subject. Something consequential would get the public's attention. Even if it was something mundane, people would panic. That's what the public does from time to time, depending on certain individuals. Nothing new with this. And if there's a simple realization that we're not alone, they should just come out and say it. People would adjust. That's what you and I push for, and everybody else that supports this. So they need to start moving forward with this, which they have not done yet. So, but my point, going back to the skiff, obviously, Grush has his clearance and is able to appear in the skiff and provide the information that he was talking about at the hearing 2 years ago. And that applies, I guess, both to Mellon and also Lou. So they're able to speak freely. But there's no answer as far as once the government or Congress has this information, what exactly are they going to do with it? What's the plan? What resources do they have to investigate, to get subpoenas, to knock doors down, to pull this information out into the daylight for the public? There is nothing that they are mentioning about that. Nothing.
Mike, I did put up a survey because I figured what a greater subject to have a survey on. And I said,
perfect.
do we really need to study the effects of disclosure before we move forward? We have hell yes, hell no, or other. On that note, let me go ahead and get the, where is it? Sound effect up and going for our poll. Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds, please. I think, Mike, this whole hell yes thing, granted that 10% of our audience for some reason is saying yes. 88% of our, 87% of our audience, 86% of our audience is saying hell no. So there is a small percentage of the people out there who are saying, yes, we should wait. But a super majority of our viewers is saying no. And it just, I don't see how it could be anything but no. Is there anybody in the back who would say it's yes? Just speak your voice.
Oh, Syrup has his hand up.
That was earlier. Syrup, how would you vote on this one?
Oh, I would vote. We don't need to study anything. They just need to release this stuff already. For sure that.
Absolutely. Just 40 with just 40 seconds left to go. All right, everybody, we'll get your vote in now at this point. Syrup, leave your hand up because let's see what Alice has to say on this. Alice, how would you vote? Yes, no, or other?
I would say no, and that comes from some personal experience. When I go out, I generally talk about UFOs to people, like at my doctor's office and things.
Yeah.
I get two answers. One is, they've been here forever. And the other one is, oh, okay. Nobody cares. I mean, we do, but a lot of the general public doesn't. They didn't even know about the drones going around after 5 months. So I don't think a lot of people care.
It could, you know, news of this could come out on a Friday, right? And by the time we hit Monday, everyone is beyond the shock and they're back to work. Granted, this is something people would talk about, but realistically, it's just we don't need to keep.
I used to really dislike the UFO movie with Independence Day, because the day that the aliens were coming down and they were going to disclose it, everybody just went to work like normal. That's what they depicted. And I thought, oh, this is such a stupid movie because people wouldn't just be going to their jobs. But as we saw with the drones, that's what they do.
Yeah, where it's looking like more and more than ever, the drones, or a super majority of the drones we saw over the East Coast, were not UFOs, just like the drones that we're seeing over United Kingdom. Turns out, like we said before in our audience, that, you know, what was going on, our audience said, oh, yes, absolutely, it's Russia. But after it happened, it was almost 50% of our audience saying, no, it's UFOs. The truth of the matter is, none of the drones that we saw were exhibiting any of the 5 observables. And if they're not, it's more likely, oh, wow, look, they can go 100 miles an hour or so. They're not going 14,000 miles an hour. They're going 100, 150 miles an hour, which is all within the scope of what humans can handle, right, Mike?
It's prosaic. It's nothing that is extraordinary. So, yeah, it's mundane, basically, is what we're trying to say.
Extraordinary or extraterrestrial.
Yeah, it's one. It's not the other.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Let's go through Syrup, and then we've got Michael and Daniel. Michael, Syrup, you had your hand up from before?
Yeah, a couple things real quick. So you guys were covering the fact that Luna had mentioned that they're going to have this skiff in April, right?
Sometime in April is what
Right.
they
So
were
they're,
saying.
so they're going to have this skip now. Whatever information David, Lou, Chris gives Luna and them, they cannot repeat none of that information outside of the skip to the public, right? Nothing.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Are they going to be able to confirm whether or not, let's say within this skip they discover we have bodies, there's alien life, just that, would they be able to disclose just that if they
Nothing.
discover that? Nothing. Right.
Zero.
Okay. So the information they're going to be given in this skip, it's what they end up doing with this information that we got to wait and see, right? Like, okay, this is where the bodies are. This is where the craft are. We got to wait to see if they actually follow through to go check this stuff out. What is the significance of this skip? What is it that we should be looking forward to if anything good comes out of this skip?
Well, that was the point that I was making to Thomas when we were talking about this story. Yeah, they've got Grush. Yeah, they have Lou. Yeah, they're going to be looking into this, but they haven't mentioned what exactly are they going to be doing? How are they going to be doing this? What's the time frame? And yeah, sometime in April is when Luna said that they're going to be having these skip meetings. But that doesn't mean anything. So what? They could have them today. How is it going to benefit any of us? What information is going to come from it? So those points that you're making, we're well aware of. And Thomas and I talk about this all the time. And we're still no closer to any information than we have been so far up to date, which is why everybody is so frustrated in the public about this. They're really tired of hearing about it. And until you could put up, then shut up. And that's where the public is coming from lately. They don't want to keep hearing it.
The only thing I worry about now, I trust Grush. I believe in Grush. I believe Lou. The only thing I worry about is it is time to put up or shut up. Right now, hopefully, these guys give good information in this skip, and they weren't bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully, they weren't useful idiots, and they weren't giving a bunch of lies. And then I just hope everything they give in that skip, there's truth to it. That's all.
I can tell you this. I agree with you about David Grush. I don't believe that he's a bullshit artist. I believe that the points that he has made publicly at the hearing and subsequently afterwards is accurate. We know that his information comes from the investigation that he did for 4 years with over 40 witnesses. We also now know that he was given a roadmap for that investigation that he conducted from Dr. Eric Davis, who worked for OSAP and had access to a lot of the people that were working in these reverse engineering programs as a scientist. And Rush followed that roadmap and was able to discover the information that he testified publicly about. So we know all that to be true. We're not hearing bullshit stories coming out of the Greer camp as far as David Grush is concerned. But now it still doesn't explain what are they going to do with that information now? What are they able to do with it? That we don't know. That no one's talking about, obviously. And I'll make one quick point about this. Thomas and I covered on the show, I think, about a week ago, give or take, that David Grush is heavily involved with a Hollywood production of a UFO documentary that is not based in fact. It is fiction. It's actually a work of fiction. So if what they are announcing about what's going on in Washington at the moment, if it was that serious, it would have been something that would have been occupying David Grush's full attention, and not something that would be thrown out into the public at the last minute. That gives me room for doubt, as it does Thomas, which is why we talk about this publicly and privately. And we're really concerned that if they were trying to bring the truth out, they could have done this in a lot of different ways before now that would have meant something. And so far, we're still not seeing any evidence or proof that shows that they're going to do anything that we're looking to get. And we're not going to get anything real so far. I hope that's not true. I hope we do. certainly they have the right players involved, but
so in other words, kind of what you're saying,
that.
Mike, is it may not just go beyond the basic conversations, because remember we had end of last year, we had a bunch of people, including Christopher Sharp from the Liberation Times, said it's time to go ahead and buckle in. It was buckle up, and then it was strap in. And I was telling everyone, be careful. It could be prepared. It could be a strap on, and it's coming for your ass. That's what we're dealing with.
That's right.
And there is a conversation going in D.C., but again, just the whole thing, I'll get back to it again, from Mellon saying we need to go figure this out before we move forward. I just have to say, the words, are you fucking kidding me? Seriously? At this point in time, we're supposed to pause and figure out what the fuck we should do? Where's the strategy? Well, if we talk like it's coming from the UAPDF, it would be going ahead and railing against the Trump organization and the Republicans in office, like Matt Ford's been doing on a regular basis, going ahead and skunking any opportunity UAPDF could possibly have as an organization because he wants to be a shill.
Right. Well, here's the good news. That meeting that recently took place the other day that we're talking about now, other than the people that are in that photo, you mentioned that Lou's personal attorney, Ivan, was also present, which he was. And we're going to have the opportunity to talk to our friend about this on the show next week sometime. So it should be another interesting conversation to talk about what was going on down there and what the plans are. So that'll be good. We'll be able to continue this and maybe get some different answers than what we're given publicly so far.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We hope so.
Well, we hope so. We'll see.
Let's move on next to Michael Sokoloff. Michael, your hand is up.
Oh, my mic was off. So I voted no, we don't need another study. The day after Pearl Harbor happened, America didn't panic. What they did was thousands of young men signed up to join the army. That's what happened. And they didn't panic. So America is not going to panic as far as I'm concerned. They're going to stand up and they're going to do something about it.
Well, that's also true, Michael, with what happened here in New York during 9/11.
Exactly.
We didn't need to do a study after that to figure out what was going on. People joined and wanted to fight. Everybody.
And what did they study? They studied the effects of what's his name, the radio show on War of the Worlds. They did a study on that.
Orson Welles? Yeah.
They never got it right. Orson Welles, yes. Yeah. I mean, and they never got it right. People panicked then because, when you tell people you're being invaded by aliens and they're killing everything, maybe that'll give you reason to panic. But that's not what's happening.
Maybe like we're being invaded by aliens and they're eating us. That could be a little bit more. But you know what? It would still bring us together to go ahead and fight against them, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you, there's an old cop joke. And we hypothesized that what if there was an actual alien invasion at one point, especially when you work in an urban city like New York and all the different environments that you have to contend with. If there was an alien civilization that came and wasn't familiar with certain parts of town, if they wandered into the wrong one, there might be an eruption of gunfire, making it turn into like Vietnam all over again. So that could definitely be the case, not just here, but other countries as well. There's always a bad part of town.
That nobody would ever be able to take over the United States because too many people own guns.
Yeah, not just the U.S., though. There are other territories and countries that are armed as well. So, yeah, if they come in unannounced, it might not be a welcome reception. So they need maybe do a study on that, Michael.
Yeah.
So we'll see. When Ivan comes on the show next week, we'll talk to him about what the plans are so far moving forward. Maybe he has some insight from behind the scenes. And hopefully this is going to go someplace that's going to be worthwhile. I hope. We'll see.
We'd hope so.
We're
my
on
friend.
it. Yeah, we're covering it.
All right. Let's go on to Sergeant Daniel and then Brian.
Yeah, the problem that I have with the whole thing is yeah, I would vote to obviously that we can take it, but the problem is we don't know what we're taking. We don't know what they know, what would be disclosed. It's anything from we're not alone to we're being abducted 1,000 times a day.
Never. They would never disclose that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, there are ranges of disclosure. So I mean, if it comes out where it's irrefutable that everybody knows the absolute truth, then you're looking at something somber. But is that scary? Is that remember you referred to it as somber? Is that scary? I mean, and what do scared people do? So I mean, I think the reality of it is how it comes out, because if it because it runs the gamut. If Stephen Greer, if he's right, there, no abductions are happening. But if everybody else is right, there's abductions happening. But I mean, having live aliens and all that. I mean, there's a whole gamut of what it could be, if the truth could be, and if we don't, if it's just we're not alone and they leave it at that, well, that's one thing. But if it's holy shit, this whole place is all screwed up. It's completely different than the way we thought it was. Our reality is completely turned upside down. Well, I don't know. Maybe it will be pretty screwed up.
Holy shit!
Yeah, one of those moments.
That's right. Well, listen, you work for the military, right? So you know that they usually give you as little information as possible, especially with something like this. They're not going to exactly announce to the world everyone needs to put their head between their legs and kiss their ass goodbye. They're going to tell you at the very least, we're not alone, and leave it at that. That's what I think.
Yeah, that would be the smart thing to do. But if it, who knows what the smart thing to do these days is? I mean, really, it could accidentally come out.
For some reason, Mike, when you're talking about this, I can see like a scene from Police Academy. We got Leslie Nielsen telling everybody it's okay, settle down, and everyone's running past, going crazy. Was that a scene, or is that just in my mind?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, almost as good as the scene when we had the woman going crazy on the plane, and everyone was getting in line to quiet her down.
Oh, Airplane. That was hysterical. Good scene.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. I think I've got something here about that. Here we go.
You like movies about gladiators?
Little Timmy, have you ever seen a grown man naked?
You like hanging out in locker rooms?
Yep. Exactly. So, listen, we'll get more information. We'll find out what's going on, and we'll see. But right here, right now, I'm not expecting any breaking news coming out of Washington anytime soon.
And honestly, one more clip here, but it's very accurate. I don't think everybody, if they found out the UFOs were real and there were aliens here, everyone would come on and say something like this.
Okay, these fuckers have fucked my life over.
Right?
Oh, God. Oh, yes.
We're not going to turn into her overnight, are we?
Oh, fuck no. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Nope.
Moving on to our next friend, Brian Pemble. How's it going? How are you doing? And how's your buddy doing? It seems like he's getting a lot of good press these days from AARO.
Which one?
No, that's the wrong one, Thomas. That's Herrera.
Oh, that's right.
That's not John Stewart.
Oh, God, yeah. No. They don't have any contacts with Herrera, but
okay.
I mean, great clips. You guys are making me laugh. But just so the conversation's correct, and just so people know, it's a 6-month task force. And okay, they're getting skiff. That's a positive, but that's not for another month. And the task force is already 2+ months old. And then we want, okay, we're going to get a study out of it. Well, that's an age-old political trick. Okay, we're going to do a study. The study's going to take 2 years, 3 years, and nothing's going to come out of it until after the 2028 election season. And you're not going to hear anything on it. So either a few things need to happen. One, Speaker Johnson needs to extend the length of the task force. And So if anybody's got some questions to submit to Matt Laszlo, that hey, if it, can you commit to extending the length of the task force? I think that would be a good one to get to Speaker Mike Johnson or Chairman James Comer.
Yeah.
But if something comes out of the skip too, also if that could be brought right up to the executive branch or right up to the president, that might be the only two positive outcomes.
I have a feeling that if anything goes on with Grush going forward, we're not going to hear any of this first through Laszlo, no matter how much he tries to fling his hair off to the side. No, we're going to get all of the information from Joe Khalil. Mike, your thoughts from News Nation.
Well, I reached out to Joe, and he never got back to me. So he seems like a very busy individual.
Well, he's a network news anchor based news reporter in D.C. with a lot of things going on. He just doesn't cover UFOs. He covers a lot of stuff. But it's great to see Burleson and Grush is going and has moved towards mass media versus the cliche media coming from, Matt.
Right. But Laszlo was the one who broke the story on the skiffs, and Grush was first. He spoke to the congressman, and they said that they were trying to hire Grush before he actually was, if you remember.
Yeah. Well, they've been trying to hire Grush for a year and a half now.
At least, not more, not longer. But you see how they did it. Why couldn't they do that from back then? See, that's where I'm puzzled. I don't have an answer for that. Doesn't make a lot of sense. They should have, if they could do this, they should have did it already. Why drag it out so long? And to get Grush involved in a Hollywood project about fiction instead of fact.
Well,
why have all that play out and then
it's going to be
this?
One of these things. They're going to call it fiction, but I have a feeling it's going to closely follow the parallels of what's been going on for the last 7 years and which potential go forward. So they're going to cover up all the things that have happened through today. Is probably going to be the intro part of the story about where it can go and the big stuff that happens. That's what the movie's going to be about. That's going to be about the day of disclosure. Well, that could be a good movie, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's going to be strangely familiar to the public testimony that David Grush had already given, except the names will be changed to protect the guilty in this case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh, one of those days. Brian, you're back again. Yes, my friend. What say you?
Yeah, just two things real quick. I completely agree that Joe Khalil would be great. I just worry that we're in that what they're trying to do, the leadership in the House at least, is trying to do a run out the clock strategy. And I think you guys are on board with that. But
run out the clock strategy with regards to
the UAP task force. Hey, we gave you guys. Well, it's not the UAP task force, but it's also MLK and JFK.
It's the and by the way, what do you call it? Annapolina Luna just announced. I've got a video clip I can bring about this, about the first hearing they're going to have for talking about the JFK, RFK, and MLK classification. So that hearing is going to be coming up. We just have to get a little bit relaxed. Everyone is like, why isn't the Trump administration talking about UFOs yet? Why haven't they given us all this information? Well, the reality is, government's going bankrupt. We're trying to fix a lot of things right now. We've had an invasion going on for the last 20 years. We're trying to fix, and a lot of stuff happening. So I'm kind of summarizing this potentially not in the right way. Sorry if I offend anybody, but this is what's going on. There's a lot of shit happening in DC right now. So I have a feeling they're going to get to it. Now, as far as that 6-month deadline you talked about, Brian, first off, yes, it's 6 months, but it's probably going to have to be extended because they're not going to be able to get through all this shit in 6 months. Secondly, about a deadline, we have 4 months. 1, 2, 3, 4 months is what they have to go ahead right now and to give for David Grush to be advising Eric Burleson, right?
Right.
There's no way he's going to be able to get his shit done in 4 months. It's going to have to be extended, just like this national secrets disclosure task force. They're not going to be able to get their shit done in 6 months, not even close for what they want to have. So we know that's going to probably go for, I say it's going to be extended 4 times. What do you think, Mike? At least.
Oh, at least before they can even start to attempt to get on track with any of this. But I'll make 2 quick points here. One, Brian, as far as Speaker Mike Johnson is concerned, he was, if you remember, on the list that Thomas and I used to cover of the people in Washington that were holding disclosure back. And my thoughts about him now moving forward, I don't trust him. I have no faith in him, and I don't think that he's going to be directly responsible for moving disclosure out publicly. And the next point I'll make is to you, Thomas. You have repeatedly said to our audience for a long time now that any type of real disclosure that's going to come from Washington, from the government, it's going to have to come from the top down.
It's going to have to come. No, just to be clear, it's going to have to come from the executive branch. Because if you look of where the DOD lines up to, where all the CIA, all the 3-letter agencies line up to, where the Department of Energy lines up to, it's all in the executive branch. That's why when there's been a lot of questions about these programs being run out of the DOD, Susan Goff, hello Susan, comes up, who's the public affairs officer for everything UAP in the United States government, says, oh, no, there's nothing going on in the DOD. And you know what, Mike? She's probably not lying. She's probably telling the truth, because of all of this, you know, it was first disclosed about 4 to 6 months ago. I'll go with 6 months ago, final answer, from Kristen Gillibrand. What's when she mentioned about a presidential special access program. She may have let that out when she shouldn't have, but she did. And before she had mentioned that, Mike, there's never been not one mention of a presidential special access program, but it makes sense for UFOs.
It makes perfect sense. It also means that if anybody tried to FOIA the DOD, they wouldn't get shit out of it.
Right.
And when Susan Goff said publicly, we don't know anything about Immaculate Constellation, she wasn't lying. It was buried in it as a presidential special access program.
It's not that she needs XLAX to get it out. No, there's nothing in there. It's empty.
Right. Which is why the only way to cut through all this bullshit and bureaucratic red tape is to have the executive branch declassify this information and bring it out publicly, like you've been saying all along. That hasn't changed, has it, Thomas?
It hasn't. You know, I wonder if there's an innuendo. I've got a video clip here I'm going to bring up. It's Representative Tim Burchett talking about saying, is the donkey whisperer. The donkey whisperer. Is he talking about Democrats secretly? Does he just need to go? Well, let's get to this, and we'll get to that in a second. Where is that video at? Not that one. Video solo. Let's get to it. Tim Burchett calling himself the donkey whisperer.
People ask me all the time, what do you do in your home, Tim? Well, I got a lot of dadgum meetings, of course, but I've also live on this little farm, and we've got these donkeys, and they always escape. All right, girl. But they absolutely love peppermint. Watch this. Come here, sweetie. Watch this. Listen. It gives you fresh breath. Anyway, that's my secret. I'm the donkey whisperer.
You know, Mike, I think what needs to go on here is we need to send Tim Burchett to his office, one of those giant tubs like you get at Costco business centers filled with mints. Go ahead and send it for DC, because he could be possibly being the donkey whisperer to people in the Democrat Party.
I certainly hope that he's able to do that, because a lot of resistance is coming from the Democratic Party, and he would need to try to pave the way. That's a good point, Thomas.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now I've got a bunch of videos in no particular order. The first video I want to play here next, believe it or not, is coming to us from well, it's coming to us from News Nation, and it looks like Ryan Graves is on there again, Mike.
Oh, I know. He's always has something to say on the topic, at least.
Let's go ahead and see. what they're talking about. Arms Services Chair is mystified about what? About talking about the drone situation that went on, and they're acting like they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. They probably do. They probably know what this stuff is. Everyone's saying we don't know what this stuff is. They're just, well, we could call them the ass whisperers.
Mm-hmm. Let's play the clip.
All right, let's get to it. Here we go. Add video. All right.
So there seems to be this big disconnect between what the White House is saying about the drones, that they're recreational and FAA approved, and top military officials who say there's evidence that they're far more sophisticated and they're possibly spying devices.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm interpreting as well. There seems to be this policy of downplaying this issue from the executive branch itself, while individual components from the executive branch, such as the FAA and the DoD, are both proclaiming pretty loudly that they don't know what these are. They're not responsible for them. They haven't authorized these flights. And of course, we can't forget the local politicians and the civilians on the ground that continue to see these vehicle-sized objects flying low over their head and still not having any answers.
Yeah, a retired four-star general and former fighter pilot said he saw dozens of these drones flying over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia every night, about half an hour after sunset. He said some of them were as big as small cars.
Yeah, and that's, as much as any individual representative wants to downplay this as just hobbyists picking something up at Walmart and taking it flying over the house, what we're talking about are very sophisticated objects that have extremely long loiter times, ability to stay over their objective. And again, these car-sized objects, these are serious vehicles. These are not toys, and we have to treat them with the respect that they deserve in case they might be an adversary and in case they're collecting on our sensitive facilities, which might very well be the case.
Yeah, we have also reports that 19 naval warships training off the coast of California were shadowed for weeks by dozens of drones.
Now, Mike, I have to jump in on this. What we've got going on right now is there is a conflation. There is a mixing of all the different types of drone sightings that have been going on, and they're putting it in one big bucket. It's like taking saying all the bird sightings we have, and it all goes in one bucket. We've got different things going on. The drones that were happening over New Jersey, New York, the whole tri-state area for that matter, is one particular type of drone scenario we had going on, most likely from our own government. Then we had this situation going over Langley Air Force Base, where we had objects coming in between 100 and 150 miles per hour, really close to the ground, not being able to be brought down by our anti-drone technologies and not showing up on radar, probably because they were flying so close to the ground. Now, that's another one. But then we have all the different drones that have been seen, like he's talking now over the West Coast. We had with the USS Russell about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, where that situation happened. That's where Jeremy Corbell and brought out the videos and was showing pyramid-shaped UFOs that were flying over the Channel Islands area, seemingly came out of nowhere, not from the Chinese freighter that was in the area, but came far out. We're dealing with a whole bunch of different sightings, and for some reason the media above me here and the commentator off to the side wants to just throw it in one bucket when you can't, because what we're dealing with is different locations, different operations, different types of craft, different characteristics, right?
Right. And the reason that they're throwing everything into one bucket is because of the lack of information we're getting from our government.
Honestly, we have the information, it's out there, but it's like from the lack of intelligence, not on the people like we have above, but it's from the production staff who set this stuff up and want to throw it in because they need something to talk about. That's what pisses me off.
No,
get down to the specifics. Keep it in the right buckets. Keep it the stuff in the right lanes and go after it, because there's a there in every single one of these scenarios. But the that's there in these different scenarios, just like the drones we saw over Russia. I mean, the drones we saw over United Kingdom. Probably the Russians at this point. different types of drones, different types of behavior. But again, we want to go ahead and throw it all in the bucket of UFOs when it's probably not that in the first place. It just pisses me off because it's misleading the general public and their interpretation of the scenario.
Well, you're right about all the points that you just made. I agree with wholeheartedly. The problem is whatever these objects are over the continental U.S., over restricted airspace, it's a national security threat. And it doesn't seem like so far our government has been addressing it or dealing with it in that way. If they were, we would have had more information about this
because
right now,
one of the
and we don't.
things that came up a while ago while we're today, we're calling it a national security threat. Many times over the last several years, the head of the Air Force has weighed in and said, yes, we've been watching this stuff for the longest time, and it's not a threat. So is it a national security threat or isn't it? I guess if they are there and they've been there for 20, 50, 80 years watching over our stuff, and the Air Force thinks, well, they're just watching us. It's like a bunch of peepers. They like to look in the window and watch, but they're never going to do anything.
Right. Well, that was one of the points I think that Ryan Graves was making in the video. But the public is frustrated about this, as is some of the media outlets that are covering this as well, including us, because there is such a huge lack of information coming from official sources that should be well aware. Even if it is a violation of national security, they should be openly talking about that, and they're not.
Nope.
So everybody's pissed off, including us.
Yeah. I'm not pissed off. I'm just pissed off at the innate media. I mean, granted, we're copying News Nation. We love them for some of the stuff that's going on, but just the reality of the situation is you need to call it for what it is, not for what it isn't, and be specific. You know, the people who watch the news are not sheep. Well, a lot of them are, but a lot of them can actually understand and digest what they're trying to tell us. And if they want to give us a good piece of information, they should. Let's watch some more of this, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a national security concern? Because I know a lot of members of the military and other retired military like yourself do.
Well, the cases that you just brought up echoed to me the same sentiment that we were having when we were having our individual occurrences off of the coast of Virginia Beach back in the 2013 and 2014 time period. And that area is only 80 miles or so away from Langley Air Force Base. And it was, in my opinion, a national security concern when it was happening back then. And although we've talked a lot about it on the show together, it's still a gaping hole in our national security that we've yet to plug.
Yeah, we heard Armed Services Committee member Senator Tommy Tuberville in our setup repeat the White House line that it's all fine, nothing to see here. But
remember when we had the line coming from the senators, Mike? And we had, what was the guy's name again? Senator Kennedy.
Kennedy, yeah.
Go home and lock your doors. The cow's out of the barn.
Yes, sir. He did. We covered that quite extensively.
Live. We covered that live when it was going on.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
So is the cow out of the barn? Alice, what do you think? Hands up.
Well, I think I watched a show today, and a lot of UAPs and UFOs way back, they were showing up at atomic sites, and now they show up a lot at nuclear sites.
Same thing. Atomic sites, nuclear sites, there's radiation there.
Destruction, right? I think that's what they're interested in at this point, which makes me think that they must have some big investment in Earth. Either they live here or they're under, Antarctica area. But
under the ocean, under the bedrock of the ocean, it's the safest place on the planet. It's better, if we have the three little pigs. We've got the house of straw, the house of sticks, and the house of wood, and the house of bricks, right?
Yeah.
They're better than the house of bricks because they've moved under the ocean because they know everything. all three of those types of houses will get wiped out anytime we have a major eruption from the sun and we get the waves that are a mile high crashing over our continents, wiping it clean. They've been here for a while.
Right.
Exactly.
That was all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's get back to this video and enjoy it. Here we go.
Committee chair Senator Wicker said on that CBS report that military officials are still mystified about the drones. Do you think this committee will finally get to the bottom of this?
I don't know. What's clear is that there seems to be two very different competing agendas going on, even in the halls of Congress as well, not just within the executive branch. But the bottom line is, people are seeing this. This is a national security concern when these are infiltrating our bases, and we need to figure out who they are. So we need to figure out less about who's saying what side of the story.
No. Mike, I don't give a rat's ass who they are, right?
Right.
We don't care what country they're from, what time frame they're from, what galaxy or solar system they're from. The real big question is, what the fuck are they doing here? Right?
Right. Why are they
now,
here?
We could even ask, why are they here? Forget about that. Forget about who they are. Forget about their craft. Forget about all that stuff. Just get down to the brass tacks of what are they doing here, specifically with the human race.
Right. That's what we're interested in. We want to know what the hell is going on. And so far, no information on that. Yeah. Nothing. That's the problem.
And then that's how it's going to continue. Alice, your hands up again.
Yeah. My friend in Alaska, she swears she sees hybrids out there all the time. So I wonder about it.
Alice, if you want to see a hybrid, go look in a mirror.
Okay.
Go look in a mirror. You will see a hybrid waving back to you if you wave.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's continue on.
And try to figure out how we can plug this gap.
You know, we aren't hearing very much. I mean, there was a time late last year when these drone sightings led almost every newscast that I anchored here. It was huge news, front page news, lead story news, everywhere. We are not hearing anything more about the sightings lately. Do you think that they've stopped, or do you think that, you know, there's just so much other stuff going on that its attention has faded?
You know, I predicted this a little bit back in early December when I was asked how I thought.
Well, truth of the matter is,
they didn't stop.
They did stop. They're not coming in off the ocean like they were every single night in the past. The pattern has changed from what it was starting back around November 18th, going all the way through December towards the beginning of the year. The patterns have changed. So yes, they still may be up there, but it's not like it was before, right, Mike?
That's true, Thomas. No, you make a good point about that. I agree. It's not the way it used to be.
No,
no, not at all.
Move on.
So, yeah.
Thought this was going to end, and my prediction was that it was simply going to kind of fizzle off the radar a bit, that the amount of reports would start to decrease, the media cycle would start to focus on something else, especially around the holidays, and unfortunately that's exactly what happened. Americans for Safe Aerospace, we receive a lot of reports from not only pilots and professionals, but from the average civilian as well. And at safeaerospace.org, we've been receiving many reports from the New Jersey area and elsewhere about similar incidences, as well as, of course, following various social media posts and otherwise. We're fairly confident that this is still occurring. And we are looking at options of being able to bring some counter-UAS technology to bear on this problem.
Aha! Mike, we got it. He wants to, his organization wants to bring forward counter-UAS technology. I've been kind of saying, what is Ryan Graves' association? Who is he dealing with? Who's funding him? Who is actually the benefactors behind America for Safe Aerospace? And now we've got it that it sounds like there's some technology partner behind there that they want to go ahead and prescribe that their platform needs to get integrated into all of these different areas. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Yes.
And you're right about that.
100%. It's just been a sneaking suspicion on this, because I talked to Ryan a while ago when he was working for one defense contractor before. He said I couldn't go ahead and talk with anybody or come on interviews, and he hasn't really since then. He's been doing his own thing before he was going to work for another company, and ever since then he's been pushing Americans for safe aerospace, and now it comes out. We've got a platform that we want everybody to start using. Platforms, Mike, aren't free, are they?
No, they're definitely not free, Thomas. You're right about that. Now, I just sent you a DM with a clip that we can play from Anna Paulina Luna.
That one. Is it the one she's talking about the JFK hearing?
Well, she's talking about NBC has a secret tape that shows Lee Harvey Oswald.
Is this the one she's talking with, what's his name again?
Jesse Waters.
Jesse Waters. Yeah, I got that actually sent to me. Mike Moore sent that to me about 30, 40 minutes ago.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Let me go ahead, and if we want to get this up, let me find Downey. Go ahead and bring it up. No, I'm dealing. Well, let's finish the one with Ryan, and then we'll get on to Anna and Jesse Waters.
Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah.
What does it mean when we have these military generals saying that these drones that were hovering over aircraft or over
really quick, I messed up. Andy, what say you?
Ah, there we are. Here's me button. Hi, Thomas. Get me cat out of the way a minute. So Ryan's saying.
So are you ready to go ahead and get, if you do anything wrong, get judged wrong, worse because you're a, well, white citizen from the United Kingdom, and they want to go ahead and put the law down heavier on you? My God, what's going on? I feel sorry for you. Come to America. Yeah. Come to Seattle. The weather's about the same.
Yeah. Maybe one day, who knows? But right. So Ryan's saying, we need to bring these devices to bring down these objects. Now, we've seen that these devices don't seem to work. When the U.S. military have used them off their warships, we heard they were deployed, I believe, off of with the Nimitz incident. They don't seem to bring anything down. So, that's. Either this technology isn't very good or at bringing what it's meant to bring down, or, they are actually stuff that we know about. So, I don't know how good, how much use this is going to be bringing these devices in. Either that, or he is trying to market them for whoever his employers are.
Yeah, it comes down to it, I guess, Andy. If we look at the situation, we have to ask the question, is it like what's been going on in the past, where potentially these military contractors have gone and have overstated the capabilities of the platform because they've had nothing to really test against, right? Yeah. And now that they actually have something to test against, they're actually failing, and they're actually being called to the point, which is where it should be.
Well, yeah, we had it here again. I'm going to hark back to Heathrow Airport in London when we had some drones that were overflying. They shut the airfield down. One of the biggest airports in certainly in the UK and one of the major ones in around the world. They were supposed to have brought these devices in to knock these drones out of the sky.
I thought you were going to bring up about the situation where someone shut down a power substation, and because their compliance with the green eco deal, they wouldn't fire up all the diesel generators they used to have to keep the airport up and going.
No, they wouldn't fire up the diesel generators because they got rid of them all, I believe. So they had no backup. It just knocked everything out. So So absolutely. Well, yeah. I'm not into all this green claptrap, I'm afraid. But So are these anti-drone devices all they're cracked up to be?
I don't know, and it's just something that we hear out there. But anytime we have these new organizations put together like Americans for Safe Aerospace, you just have to ask the question, what is the actual end goal for this? Where are we getting to? And that's one thing we're finally starting to get clear from Ryan Graves. Nothing against it. I get the whole idea of Americans for Safe Aerospace, but the biggest issue I had with the policy they had coming from this is they wanted to get all the reports that pilots were making, right, and get them to Washington, D.C., so they could change policy on it, not to get those reports and get them to the pilots who could listen to them and make their air travels more safe. So are we really here to make the airwaves or make the air more safe for travel, or are we there for other reasons?
It just seems like it could be other reasons, doesn't it? I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, I wish it was different, but you know what? Sometimes people say it on their own, don't they? We don't have to do the work for them. All right, moving away from Ryan Graves, Mike, we've got that story coming up of Anna Polina Luna talking about the JFK hearing that's coming next week. You ready for this one?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to it, my friends. Video full. All right. Anna and Jesse. Here we go. I always thought Jesse. Apparently he may not be, but
So we actually have our hearing coming up on April 1st. That is not April Fool's Day. That's when the hearing is going to be. And we actually just confirmed today that the director, Oliver Stone, will be testifying at that hearing, as well as Jeff Morley and a few other people. You know, there's been some incredible breakthrough on these declassified documents, and kudos to President Trump for following through on his campaign promise to fully declassify. But look, Jesse, we need to ensure that the American people deserve the truth, get down to the facts of what actually happened. And I do believe that the Warren Commission never did the service, give the American people the facts. And so we have those. We're excited to present them to the American people, and there's more to come on that.
Yeah, Jeff Morley, who was on my show, who's going to be testifying to your committee next week, he said because of these new releases, it's conclusive that the CIA was running Oswald, running him. And he also said that he doesn't think all of the documents have been released. Is that your understanding too?
Yeah, so we're actually in the process of tracking down 2 specific documents. And also, too, Jesse, I would like to actually tell the American people, it was made aware to me this evening that NBC actually has a video that's never been seen before. We're actually going to be sending a letter requesting that from NBC because it allegedly shows Oswald near the vehicle when the assassination took place, which means that he couldn't have been the shooter. So, again, we're tracking down all this information. But look, there's even a CIA document that came out that Mr. Morley pointed out that actually said that the CIA never bought the lone gunman theory. And so I think the American people had an inclination as to what we were saying, but we never had the hard evidence until now. And so it's important to note that in a free and fair society, how could you operate or have an agency operating in the shadows? And so kudos to President Trump, also Director Radcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard for pushing for this transparency. It is going to be generational changing that they've done this, and we hope to bring forward legislation to ensure that this never happens again for future generations to come.
You're saying NBC has been keeping this tape of Oswald under wraps?
Correct. In fact, Director Stone actually told us that he was showed this tape, that it was a secondary copy, and that he said that this could blow open the entire JFK investigation. What I will also tell you, though, Jesse, is he said that NBC has been very, very much so guarding this tape. And so I believe that that tape belongs to the American people. We are going to be sending a letter asking for that tape. And I would encourage everyone to ask NBC to release that tape to the public. It's important, not just for our investigations, but so the American people know the truth as to what happened with John F. Kennedy.
Mike, this is freaking huge, isn't it?
It's potentially going to break that whole case wide open.
But if NBC has been sitting on this footage for so long, what does that say about the credibility of NBC as a news source?
Oh, hell no. Absolutely, it's a credibility killer. Anyone with common sense would see that. I don't know why they would be anybody with a historical event of this magnitude. Why a news organization would bury that and keep it hidden for so long.
For so
Beats the hell
long.
out of me.
And, you know, there were news anchors who probably knew about this, people who did the research, but it was shut down by the, you know, even people who have retired and died off and moved on still haven't brought this up. Or the leaker who gave it to NBC about this. Just, well, something we're going to have to cover, Mike.
Oh, hell yeah. But it still remains to be seen if this information that she's talking about is accurate, and it hasn't come out yet. So we'll wait and see. Yeah. But it's a hell of a story. And it also establishes Lee Harvey Oswald's innocence. It's the fact that he wasn't guilty, and they killed him anyway.
Well, it shows they set him up, Mike.
Right. And I heard Danny recently talking about this, and he did an interview, obviously. But what he said something that I thought was interesting. And back during the Bay of Pigs, the U.S. government had formed an assassination team to target and murder Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
And it failed. But what Danny said is that he knows firsthand that the key players that were involved in the assassination of Kennedy was the very same team that they put together to assassinate Castro. So he was talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And if what they're saying now about that film that NBC has been hiding from the public, it gives claims like that more credibility, I think.
Oh, it does. It truly does. But
now there's no mention of when they're going to release this publicly, right? They're going to try to get it at the hearing?
Yeah, sounds like it. Why would they not want to bring it out at that point in time? It sounds like they may have access to that video footage at this point. It has not been released to the public, but there'll be one hell of a hearing, I tell you.
Oh, my God. That would affect American history as we know it.
Rewrite it. Just like we need to rewrite the history about UFOs.
Right. But this sounds like we may get closer to the truth on Kennedy before we get the truth on disclosure.
Well, yeah.
So we'll cover it either way.
JFK, RFK, MLK, UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
We want little old UFOs here to jump before all of these, but the truth of the matter is there's a pecking order. JFK, RFK, MLK, and then UFOs. But the thing they said they wanted to get to come out about UFOs, irrespective about Lou Elizondo going to Washington, David Grush going to Washington, everybody's going to Washington, right?
Mm-hmm.
Irrespective of that situation, we still have to meter our expectations. Now, they have said specifically, Anna Luna said, the goal of the disclosure of national secrets for UFOs, right, is to specifically acknowledge the existence of a non-human intelligence.
Yes, that was
just
the stated
to
goal.
acknowledge it. Not to get all the information about everything that everybody within the whole area of UFOs, including myself here, would love to get. One of the things we've been seeing because of everyone's expectations and how they've been lifted up and crushed and lifted up and crushed so many times over the last 3 years when I've been, our audience, I hope, was part of this for the last about year and a half of this. But after then, we wised up for that matter. And I started talking about on the show, temper your expectations. They promise all of this great stuff. They don't give us shit, and there's no follow through. There's no accountability for any of the stuff that AARO was supposed to have or what AARO was supposed to do, what we were supposed to have for whistleblowers and all this stuff. It didn't happen, did it, Mike?
No. Well, number one, as far as AARO is concerned, Kirk Kirkpatrick that was running the show. He was a hired gun. And his sole mission and purpose was to shoot down any type of disclosure moving forward. And he did. I got to play devil's advocate.
Let's be clear. Kirkpatrick was a fall guy. Kirkpatrick was there to follow the direction of the leadership above him. He was what you would consider in corporate America a yes man. Right?
Yeah.
Whatever his leadership told him, yes, sir, I'll go ahead and do that. And that's what he did really well. And it showed at that time the Pentagon, led by Lloyd Austin, who was part of the executive branch, reporting up to Joe Biden, was completely against disclosure. There wasn't support for disclosure. There was dissent against disclosure. Now, again, everybody wants all the truth about disclosure to happen today. Lou Elizondo's been saying forever, be patient. My patience has worn paper thin. We all say we want to have disclosure now, and we don't want to wait anymore. Bring it forward. Enough of the bullshit. That's why we pushed back earlier today against Christopher Mellon, didn't we?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
No more bullshit excuses. No more reasons. No more freaking Vulcan logic to get in the way when it's unnecessary. Like it's unnecessary to put raisins in potato salad. Why do you ask? Why do I say that? Because some people do. And you look at it and it's like, why the hell would you put raisins in potatoes? Maybe some paprika, some garlic, some onions, some even freaking grated apples. Or mustard.
Right.
But raisins?
No.
You know what I mean, Mike?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And you're 100% right on that. But that's why the public is frustrated. That's why people who support disclosure in the public, they've had enough. They're frustrated between the money grabs, and you get people who are coming forward with some bullshit message and not providing any evidence to back any of these claims up. People are sick and tired of hearing this shit over and over and over.
All right, so hearing this shit over and over again. I have a clip I haven't played yet, and I haven't had time to watch it yet. But there was a unidentified anomalous phenomena from a national security perspective. Hearing today, not in the United States, but in Japan.
Wow, that should be interesting.
So I've got a clip here from retired Undersecretary of Defense Christopher Mellon. Now, take in consideration, it was recorded within their Congress. Someone with an iPhone recording it. So video quality is going to suck. Audio is going to suck. But you know what? It's better than nothing. So let's get to this, shall we?
Yeah, please do.
Let me see if I can find this video full. Let me bring this up. All right. So, yeah. Look, they've got
remind everybody, a lot of the people that are going to be in that skiff in April are at this hearing, right?
Mike, I think that might be Google Meet. I recognize that line. line going around the video and the person's name. Probably not, but here we go. Let's play it and see where it takes us.
Claims by individuals regarding this allegation of recovered alien technology and of a secret government program. And that is continuing. And I have shared publicly correspondence I received from a senior government official describing the program with his permission. And I have also been told by several people who claimed, not like Dave, to have heard about the program, but the people who actually were in the program have made that claim. But I have never seen actual proof, and no proof that I'm aware of has been formally presented to Congress. And this office has not received what they consider to be proof, and they continue to investigate. It's a little bit controversial, the quality of their investigation, but they have new leadership, and that continues. Ultimately,
Mike, that sounds
a lot like what you and I have been saying.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Seems like Christopher Mellon's tune has changed slightly, probably for the same reasons that we've been talking about. Good clip.
Yeah.
Let's see where it goes.
We've got a bunch more clips of this we'll be playing tomorrow. Because it is Saturday, and I got a bunch of stuff about the UK. My goodness. We're not covering here tonight. Tomorrow's our international show.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun show.
Hope so.
Oh, I know so.
Better than last
it'll be
Saturday.
fun.
Goodness. We did not have one.
We did not.
Cover that. We're not covered that. All right. Remember how Ross Colhart talked about a location where they found a UFO under
Yes, sir.
archaeological
it was too
kind of
big
shit.
to move. He
Too
said.
big to move.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jay Anderson, who's found his way up the chain, I would almost think we're going to start seeing Jay Anderson, Mike.
Yeah, he's been making the rounds.
Alongside Giorgio too close on Ancient Aliens. Just watch. Although I think Stefan Burns has much better, greater hair than even Giorgio Tsoukalos ever had. So let's get to this. Jay Anderson's talking about, and I'm putting the stuff together that he was talking about. Now, potentially, let's get into it. All right, so Gilgamesh, the god king of Iraq, reigned for 126 years. Potentially, this guy was like a giant because that is a full-grown lion that he's holding under his arm. Mike, you've held your cats or dogs like that in the past, right?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Now imagine if, it kind of sets the size and scale of what's going on. Now, potentially, they found the tomb of this dude right before we announced that we found WMDs in Iraq.
Okay.
And after that happened, right over that location where they found the potential tomb of this guy, which may have more stuff, like potentially the Ark of the Covenant, we built a full military base over that location.
Of course we did.
Yeah. Not that it's tied to it, but it's just one of those things you have to look at. And this is what's, they were talking about this. And I'm just saying, what if this is similar to the place that Ross was talking about? Everyone with Ross thinks it was Australia, but it, for where the giant UFO was buried underground, could be here, or it could be in Australia. It could be someplace else. Now, Charles Kerr says it's in Australia. Well, you know what? We need to get Ross to come forward with the truth and stop covering it up, like NBC did for so many years for convenience purposes.
Yeah, or whatever it was. They were under control from the government not to release certain information.
Yeah. That seems to be a pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It was a term for that in regards to government interaction with the mainstream media. Project Mockingbird, from what I remember.
God, have you seen some of the recent situations where there was pushback for different things that were going on in the current administration and the opposing party, and there was like 26 or 30 people of the Senate and the House of Representatives who all went and spoke the exact same script, line for line almost?
Did they really do something that
they
stupid?
did, and as soon as I saw that, it was like Project Mockingbird.
Oh, that's terrible. Not a good sign.
Yeah. There's someone in the audience, all this besides me, but yeah, it was like 2 months ago. probably month and a half, probably about a month ago. I'll go with my, I've learned always go with my first answer, final answer.
There you go. Sounds good to me.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at where I was here. All right, what have we not covered yet, Mike? We're going to talk about Skywatcher Part 2 tomorrow, I promise.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are interested in the situation, and they're laying out a lot of details from where they're at right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go.
Yeah, we can cover that tomorrow and go over their details that they're sharing with the public.
Oh, gosh. Lots of stuff to talk about. I'm just trying to get through where is my bookmarks from today? Nothing like that mention. All right, so we saw that one with Tim. We saw that with there. We got a bunch of news for the UK. God, we had that. Where's it at? Get past that one. We got out that one in there. The giant burst from the sun person. All right, so here we go. Here's the thread I want to bring up. It was hard not to hear about the heartbreaking news of what took place today with the 7.7 quake that devastated Mandalay, Myanmar, and also impacted Bangkok, Thailand. So much so there's some threads that I've seen on Twitter, Mike. I just want to go ahead and share this with the audience. Unless you've been on social media in some of the different areas, a lot of our people watch our show aren't. Mike, should we share this?
Oh, please do. This should be interesting.
All right, let's get this up here. All right, here we go. First one. This one's coming from Thailand. This is all right, so this is the first one showing a temple off in the distance, just completely wiped out. The next one we've got is they were building a new building in Thailand. The entire just skyscraper in production collapses. And it's just gone. Imagine if that building was actually complete and actually, what do you want to call it? Occupied by people. They'd all be dead. The next one, this is going through Myanmar, going ahead and just showing a whole bunch of the different buildings. If you look at the bottom here, and a lot of the stuff as you're going across on the left side, you're going to be seeing like this, where there was a business below the actual building, like where someone who had like a street-facing business below the actual apartments above, and you can see what's left. It just collapsed straight down.
Wow.
Here
That's
again,
amazing.
Second floor collapsing down on first floor. Some of the buildings are making it, but you're getting a bunch of them like this over here, where part of the structures is just completely collapsing.
That's frightening.
Yeah, it is.
To see people have to deal with.
Here we go. Yeah. Here's this one. Here's a close up of one of the buildings falling down.
Holy shit!
Here we go. The whole thing just comes down with the gun. Everyone's just running further down. Go back on that again. Full building.
Yeah, wow.
Coming straight down, and everyone's running for their freaking lives. Unfortunately, they're saying at least 10,000 people have died from that, for the initial estimates. Here you've got two different buildings that are connected by a walkway. You see that, like a greenery where they've got like trees and bushes, and it's like a little park connecting the buildings.
Yeah.
So the buildings, the bottom of it just starts to fall away.
Like something out of a disaster movie.
Yeah. Now they're zooming a little bit farther back, but what it just shows is a lot of these different buildings, with what they're putting together, aren't set up for the natural disasters that can potentially happen. Now, these buildings don't fall down, but the actual structure of it is a little compromised, but it's not coming down. Here, unfortunately, we have someone who's amid all the different, if you want to call it, rebar and everything. They actually survived for now.
Yeah.
The next area is we have a massive ground rupture that happened in the Mandalay area of Myanmar, where you can see the actual ground has just been spread apart after the actual event happened. Yes, and this, Julian Reverbal, yes, we've had a lot of sun activity. We've had the largest coronal hole that we've seen in the longest time, just going ahead and just sending a bunch of energy to the Earth. At the same time, we've had multiple CMEs that have come towards us as well. We've had like multiple days last week, more days than not, where we've had Aurora Borealis going around the world. We have had all this energy entering into our planet. And then today we had the big X 1.1 explosion that went. Granted, it wasn't facing towards the Earth. There was still energy that hit the planet head on. And then we have this. So, energy coming in, seeing the effects of energy. There's going to be some wild weather coming up soon as well, Mike.
Oh, it definitely seems that way.
All right, this one is the Mandalay International Airport. Just a lot of alarms, a lot of ceiling material coming down. This one is the Mandalay University. Just a bunch of buildings everywhere, just that have collapsed and fires that have started coming out of it. We got this is one that hit Bangkok. Now, off into the distance here, you can go ahead and see what looks like a waterfall coming down. This is actually a pool that's on the top of the building, and all the water that's splashing out of the pool going down. And this is one of the condos that's going ahead and watching it. Let's move on to the next one. Here's another view of that same hotel, but from someone else in another unit higher up. And there's actually some videos, if they may not be here, from actually people who are back within by the bar area watching all the splashing and things going on.
This is pretty horrible.
Let's move on. Here's another one of that one building we saw that came down from a farther distance. It literally just collapses straight down. It just shows, basic engineering and building techniques that should be in place to go ahead and prevent stuff like this going on. Then the building's not finished. It should be setting up there perfectly. But again, you don't have the right crew and you're getting a bunch of stuff at a discount from China, potentially what you can deal with. All right, this is coming from just homes violently shaken. I believe this is from like homes in Thailand, or just the entire location is just shaking around inside of it. Let's move on from there. This is the aftermath in Wulane, Taiwan. After the situation happened, everyone is out in the streets, but you can see just lots of large buildings off in the distance, just in different states of collapse. Thank God for the people there. They actually made it through. We've got, actually, that one says original video. This is from 2024. So YouTube, if you want to get us for this one, someone clipped this from 2024 and put it up there. It's not a recent one, so we take that back. Again, any of the information we're trying to bring forward is just information that's being openly shared on X. Just want to go ahead and preface that from anybody. The next one we've got is multiple buildings being destroyed after the quake went on. There's buildings getting destroyed. We have another shot of that. Again, not the, here we go. Here's a full view of that one. And we've got another one. It's just, clearly the architecture isn't made to go ahead and stand that kind of activity, Mike.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah.
It's falling like dominoes.
This buildings. One is the, here's another building. Not a lot left, just rubble.
Yeah, of course.
And it looks like that is the, oh wow, what the hell is that? Holy cow. Look at that.
Wow. This is not good if you're in that area.
Oh, hell no. Is this person out here dancing when it goes on? People at the airport going ahead and just actually huddling on the ground after the event was going on. Oh, God, this one's horrible. This is that crane we saw fall earlier.
Yeah.
There goes a crane operator.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's deadly.
Yeah, it's like watching a snuff film. This is not
good. Yeah, here's a different hotel going ahead and seeing all the water splashing around and the people who are on the top level. I guess that whole thing's got to be going back and forth.
Yeah, it's just, well, all the energy from the sun, it's got to go someplace, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, talk about energy from the sun. Perfect thing, because you know what, Mike? As disclosure's been slow, I've been starting to check out things that have been happening in the sky. There have been some amazing events that have happened in the last week, actually in the last week and a half, relative to activity from the sun and the displays of the aurora that's been going on. It's been amazing, and 2025 is going to be even more.
Well, at least as far as the weather, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we'll have to start covering that a bit more.
Oh, we can. Yeah, it's everyone finds it interesting. I know I do.
And I actually found a photographer who's got a lot of great pictures here in the Seattle area, so I may have a source to go ahead and change out that usual background we have in the studio.
Well, we talked about that a while ago, from what I remember.
Oh yeah,
so that's a good idea.
All right,
out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah, you know what? I found it. We've got one more video clip to go ahead here and play for our audience. This is Amy. Just copied the video address. Let me just download this one here. Got a lot of stuff going on. I have a lot of things that have filled up the queue for the episode. All right, so we have Eric Burleson meeting with News Nation, talking about David Grush being part of his office. We haven't seen.
No, not yet.
Well, we will now. Here we go.
Congressman, you made some headlines with the hire of David Grush.
Yeah.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you feel the need to do it?
I think that just it's frustrating to me that we can't continue to just not really get any further. And so one of the things that was highlighted to me really is that, or obvious to me, is that we don't have somebody that's an expert in this field helping us navigate the intelligence community, navigate these, because the thing is, you don't know which questions to ask, right? And so how do you even determine where to go if you don't even have the first clue?
So how did the idea come about? Oh, well, Grush says he knows some things. Let's bring him in.
Yeah. Well, first, just meeting him and having him come in for the first hearing, that was really, I thought that he was a very credible witness. And while I may not, I'm a skeptic. I may not agree that these are aliens from another planet. But I certainly do not doubt or discount his reputation. He is highly credible, highly respected, and he certainly was in the right roles. And so I think he was his credentials are amazing. And just having him as an asset to be able to help us navigate and plan and coordinate what steps, where to go from here is really what I wanted to get accomplished.
So he's going to be is currently working for you, or will be?
April 1.
April 1, okay. So what are the things that he can do then that you can't necessarily believe that you could do right now?
Yeah, one is that, it's the amount of time. So getting him committed and on where he's able to provide counsel to me. He's putting together a plan that we'll be able to execute and then work alongside, really through my office, work to try to get some more information out through the committee staff and other things. But at the end of the day, he's working for my staff, and so that has to be kind of the parameters. He can't work for the committee. He's working for me.
So he's now going to be working for you. Obviously, one of the different dynamics here is this whole the questions and the investigations and the hearings and all that started in the Biden administration, right? President Biden, the defense secretary was Lloyd Austin. It's obviously a much different time right now. Pete Hegseth is the defense secretary over at the Pentagon. Have you talked to the secretary about this? The AARO office is over there at the Pentagon. Have you talked to him yet about this? What about now in the new administration?
Well, I don't have a direct line with Pete. I'm going to try to get that connection.
But you see where I'm going, right?
Because what is good about Grush is he does have direct connections with a lot of these individuals. And so he's got connections with Tulsi and a lot of other individuals that I think would be very valuable.
What about it now with President Trump in the White House? How does this change?
You know, he's a disclosure president. He has clearly demonstrated that he wants to be transparent. He's already released.
Hold on a second, Mike.
Yeah.
You got Burleson here going ahead and say Trump is the disclosure president.
Right.
That's the first time we've heard that coming out of D.C.
Well,
Lena Luna hasn't used that term, and neither has outspoken Tim Burchett. Just saying.
Right. No, you're right. There were allegations about that from Donald Trump Jr. in interviews that he did, but no one out of Washington had confirmed that. You're right.
And then they're saying this, that Donald Trump is the disclosure president. It just weighs on me so many times. I had to see these negative comments about the Trump administration coming out of the director of strategy for UAPDF, Matt Ford. It just, for me, it's just like a slap across the face. We try to go ahead. You limit yourself more than I do.
I do.
In your support.
Yes.
But we talk about it. But just the negative rhetoric and the toxicity that's put towards the Republican Party and their policies and what they're doing from the head of strategy from UAPDF, and they're supposedly supposed to be there to bring disclosure together. And everybody's been saying for the longest time, disclosure is bipartisan. But what we're seeing is we have an organization that is very partisan against the current executive branch. But if this executive branch is the one that has the power to bring forward disclosure, isn't it kind of like dangerous to go ahead and be so outwardly negative and opposing it? I just don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. That's good points that you're making. And the reason why you and I don't speak publicly about one side of the aisle or the other, or do attacks, is because, like you said, there is no room for partisan politics in disclosure.
No.
Right.
This should be something that just doesn't unite the United States, but it unites everybody around the world together, to come together, not to see from your own independent governments what's going on, to realize we're all part of this human race that is dealing with this other non-human intelligence that's bringing here. But what we're seeing more is more divisiveness, that's party politics, to go ahead and split things apart. Especially coming from someone with a strong voice.
Yeah, no, there's no room for that. It creates a lot of animosity from one side of the aisle to the other.
Yeah.
It's not helpful. You're right. It doesn't make a lot of sense logically, especially if you're involved in an organization that is looking for support from the public on both sides of the aisle. You can't choose one or the other and then get the public to support you in what
and it's
you're doing.
not like he doesn't have the opportunity with StandForBetter.org, which is his DNC supporting voice, but it seems like he's pulling everything from what he does on X into negative rhetoric, and it's like I'm at a point now, I just either I'm not going to follow them, but I have to mute it just because it's, you want to hear what someone has to say, but when all you're hearing is
Attacks
irrespective
and
of my
jabs.
bipartisanship, it doesn't go anywhere.
No, it doesn't move the conversation forward. It doesn't help. And all it does is divide the public and their support, which defeats the purpose of trying to engage with the public to get their support. You can't have it both ways. So you're right about that. Doesn't make any sense to me, but it's not us.
No, well, it's not us, but you know what? Disclosure is us. Let's be honest. Disclosure is humanity. It's not just the people in D.C. or the people in Hollywood or the people anywhere for that matter. It's humanity. That's what disclosure is. It's about bringing forward the truth for humanity, not for the special interest who's there to go ahead and monetize it and keep the information away so they can they can get past the area of government disclosure, but now we're dealing with corporate disclosure.
Right. But most people sometimes tend to overlook or not put it in its proper place. And that is that this is when the truth finally comes out, this is the biggest story in human history. And it doesn't go on one side of the aisle or the other. And it affects everybody everywhere. It's global.
It does affect everybody everywhere today, but we're just so busy in our lives and what's going on here that we're not taking that step back to see the big picture. And that's what a lot of people in this community do. They want to see the big picture. They want to get out of the material. They want to get into more of this consciousness-based situation that we're dealing with. I get it.
Well, right now, the basics for everybody in the public, especially the people who are not well-versed or knowledgeable on this subject, they want to see the proof. They don't want to hear the stories anymore, like we said at the beginning of the show. They're tired of hearing these same stories over and over again. They want to see something. And unless you're able to provide that, even Christopher Mellon just made those same points. If you can't do that, you're not going to get the complete support of the public behind you, especially on this.
That's really good.
Oh, yeah. And that's why in some of the stuff that I've been dealing with, I've enjoyed my step away, Mike, into going ahead and watching what's been going on with the Aurora Borealis, seeing videos like this is from up in Alaska, just videos like this coming in day after day of unbelievable situations, going ahead and seeing what's going on like over Lake Superior live. To get into that, quick back button, going ahead and just seeing amazing images coming in live from different areas, and there's no politics, there's nothing going on. It's just enjoying the beauty of the Aurora Borealis. And we talked about this, Mike, but the biggest difference in what we have that goes on between checking out a phenomena like this, right?
Yeah.
And dealing with something that's disclosure, inherently, everything that we're getting out of disclosure and from the government, is all basically politics based, no matter how you look at it. It's not like we're just going ahead and looking at these amazing pictures of the Northern Lights over different parts of the world. No. We're dealing with a situation where with UFOs, it's the executive branch, the presidential branch that's been locking all this stuff up, right?
Yes, correct.
And the only way we're seeing it is getting people in Congress, which are Democrats or Republicans, not by party, but by the positions that they hold, and the executive branch and everything that goes along with it. That is what's truly in control of it. So when we're dealing with disclosure, and I know there's a lot of people with Elon derangement syndrome and Trump derangement syndrome. I've got a bunch of videos I've been watching on this stuff, getting to the point if we want to cover it, we can. But it's no longer people attacking or going after or saying their displeasure by going after people in elected offices or in positions that they've gotten into. Now they're attacking innocent people in hate crimes. It's just, again, that's why I've been enjoying some of the stuff, checking out some of these video images and different things as they're coming together. But, you know, Mike, if we deal with UFOs, whether we like it or not, it's going to be politics. So here's the thing. If you can't deal with politics, you can't hear people talking about one part or the other. I love having you as a subscriber, but if you can't handle that, please unsubscribe now. I'm just saying it because we've been talking this way for a while, and we're going to be talking about this way for a while longer, and there's no way to get around it. So if you have some kind of derangement syndrome, you can unsubscribe, but please don't, but get some help because it's about tolerance from so many different directions for us to get there. Otherwise, join me and go ahead and watch the Aurora Borealis. For the most part, once you're in that community, this one's great. It looks like a freaking waterfall, Mike.
It's a beautiful light show, Thomas.
I know. This, you know.
Mother Nature.
Yeah.
At its best. Yeah.
Yeah. This is his cabin where he lives, and that's walking out the front door of his cabin. Wouldn't that suck? Oh God, yeah, it would. Now, granted, our wives or husbands may not like that, but
no.
Yeah, you don't see blue auroras that much, but it's out there. Alice W., go ahead.
Just wanted to let you know I sent those pictures on WeTransfer for you.
Sure, I will check them out after the show, my dear.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and there's been a lot.
They're not as great as this, but they're Aurora pictures and stuff.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, because your friend moved up to what is it? Christmas, Alaska?
No, North Pole.
North Pole, Alaska. Yeah, and I believe the cabin that I showed a little bit ago. I believe he's in North Pole, Alaska.
Oh, cool.
So she may just need to get some good.
Like to come on and show her photos. And
oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, she's great. She's one of my best friends.
Oh, wonderful. She moved to the best place you could possibly go to. Yeah. I look at this stuff and I am just like, oh, I want to go. I live in the Seattle area. We get a lot of clouds. Even when we could potentially see the aurora, we've got complete freaking cloud cover here. Yeah. I've been going ahead and reposting a lot of these great pictures. Just the colors that have been coming up recently has just been absolutely freaking gorgeous. I can go on again for hours just talking about this stuff because I don't know, for some reason I'm really connected with it. I guess I need to get off my ass and get my convertible Camaro out there a bit more to when it's going on to be willing to drive for a couple hours. But if, Latro says Aurora's on my bucket list. This is the year to do it. 2025 for what's going on now, do it now, no matter where you're at. You can get out to go and see it with what's going on. I guess you're going to have to gamble to find it, but it's just...
Do you think tomorrow night might be a good night to ask her?
Well, it depends on what we have coming our way from the X1.1. If I can find this here, let me get back to there. We had a big X1.1 belch that came off the sun today.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not pointing towards Earth, luckily, but it still may send some stuff our ways. But there's like a section of like 5 or 8 new sunspots that are getting ready to come onto our side of the sun. And when it does, we're open for coronal mass ejections like this one to potentially come in and hit the planet head on.
Oh my gosh.
Which will give us amazing aurora.
When you're ready, let me know.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Anything else here? Yes, you're welcome, my dear lady. Anything else before I guess I'll have to, where do I end it? Do I end it on something like this? Yeah, let's end it on something like this. Mike, what a great show tonight, huh?
Beautiful. We covered a lot of different subjects. We have more for tomorrow.
Oh gosh, we got a lot.
Yeah, it was a great conversation. It was a lot of fun tonight, Thomas. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and I'm sure the audience did as well.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Well, it's great to go ahead and bring up some of this just video pictures to show, and I've got hundreds of these things in the community that I'm in now. It's all the guys who have all the cameras who watch the data, and as I share the data, I usually hit it before they do. I share it with everybody, and then they jump into their cars and go flying in places. It's amazing. So on that note, my friend, where is that from? Oh yeah.
Holy shit!
On that note, where is it at? We've had a lot of great super chats tonight, Mike. There's actually 2 more that came in. I didn't even see them when we were going through everything about the auroras. Shelley Montgomery. Yep. Thank you, Shelley. We think about you all the time, don't we, Mike?
Oh, we do.
We do, Mike.
Yeah, we really do, yes.
Anonymous Rex. Oh, no. Scary alien. Never mind. It's just time. Thank you, my friend. Love you, Tim. Anne-Marie. Steve Hines. Metal Gaming. Lord McCormick. Geraldine Durazio. Megan Betts. Kyle Reinhardt. Daryl. And Gizmo for some great super chats tonight. Thank you, everybody. I've been trying to watch the chat, keep up with everyone's what you've been saying in the chat, bringing things up. Love what you have to say. I appreciate you being here. And remember, everybody, we're the only show out there that actually has an open live viewer call-in for everybody. Remember, the show goes on after the show and the live viewer call-in, and it's to the top of the chat. Follow the link. We'd love to have you for part of the conversation. On that note, Mike, it's been a great conversation. Had a lot of people hanging out here. I'm sure we'll have some great friends in here tomorrow.
We will. And we'll have our international show tomorrow, so we'll have people from all over the world. So it'll be fun, like it always is.
2 p.m. Pacific?
Yes.
10 p.m. Or is it? I think it's still going to be 9 p.m. London time because they'll be catching up with their time in the next couple weeks, right, Andy?
Yeah, clocks change Sunday night.
Right.
Sunday morning, Saturday night,
there
Sunday morning. So yeah, it's 9 p.m.
Last
here.
time, 9 p.m. Then we'll be back to 10 p.m. as regular in London time.
Yep.
All right. On that note, I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. Mike, thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. I wouldn't have missed it for anything. Great show, Thomas.
And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody. But times, come on, work for me.
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. Love you. I'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.